from New York. Wonderboy, obviously such an exciting fighter. It's sure to make for an excellent contest. Let's start with Mr. Victor Vargas on this one. Victor, what are your thoughts going into this fight, and who do you see walking out with the welterweight title, sir?
This should be a really exciting fight, and it's kind of funny given how many people some few people that are infuriated by McGregor and Alvarez, and that McGregor doesn't deserve it because he's a featherweight and all that nonsense. Yeah. But this is the true number 1 versus number 2 championship title fight, and a guy that really deserved it in Wonderboy. And stylistically, there's no way it can't be interesting. I guess I wouldn't be surprised at like a slow opening round where they're kind of just filling each other out and kind of looking at each other. But I think going to the second, third, and then, who knows if it goes into the later round, this should be really interesting. I favor Wonderboy. The one thing people always talk about is movement and his kicks and stuff, but he has actually very sound footwork. Not just that he's always moving, he keeps good distance. He knows how to pivot. He could cut really tight angles on you. And a guy like Woodley, who can cover a lot of distance and is very explosive, I think that can cause a lot of problems. Like I said, I think I'm kind of predicting a slow first round, and I think Wonderboy will probably finish him maybe towards the end of the second or third by TKO.
TKO for you, sir. Good shout. James, same question to you, sir. James, what's your thoughts when Woodley takes on Wonderboy, and who do you see as the victor in this contest, sir?
See, I quite like Tyron Woodley. I don't know whether I'm necessarily going to pick him, but I quite like him as a person. So I'd definitely like to see him win. But I'd also quite like to see him go back to like when he was in Strikeforce and back in the days when people used to boo him for perhaps different reasons to what they boo him for now. When he was the pressure wrestler and not that exciting to watch. There's something about not just an underdog, but the guy that no one wants to win, seeing things just go to shit, utter chaos. And I would really like to see him not just obviously what he did to Lawler was amazing. But I would like to see him maintain his belt and in the most gruesome, boring fashion ever, just lie on top of him for 5 rounds and just take it out of there. Which is something but he's capable of that. I mean, people seem to not like him anyway, which I can't fathom that. I don't understand what he's actually done wrong. But play the villain, fuck him. Just if they're gonna dislike you, give them a reason to dislike you. I don't know, like Stephen Thompson's obviously very exciting to watch, and he's got the looks. He's got, he should be the full package, but he's not that interesting a person. He doesn't have a particularly exciting name, and pick him out of a lineup. Like, really, who cares? But they seem to be positioning this guy. They want him as their champion. At least that's what I think, given what they've currently got. And I would like to see Tyron be the spoiler. That said, I think if he doesn't get it done in the first round, I think it's probably not going to be a good night for him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go reluctantly for Thompson as well. I think probably in like second or third, he probably gets him out of there.
Fair play, Wonderboy for you as well. And finally, Steve, how about yourself? Wonderboy, Woodley, who have you got?
I like this fight. This is an interesting style fight. I mean, it's like karate against wrestling, but at the same time, Woodley, like the others were saying, is so explosive and can come off the block so fast. That's a problem for anyone. What he did to Lawler was just insane. But I think with like the others, I'm edging towards Wonderboy's footwork, his quick movement, his kicks, and his punch. He throws in such an awkward way that to get that replicated in sparring, you've got to go and find such a high level karate guy who's got to have then that knowledge of wrestling and that to take what he brings to the cage is just, it's going to be hard for anyone to replicate. So I can see Thompson just being a problem for that. But in terms of what the other things, I mean, in terms of Woodley's like popularity at the minute, I think most people hate him due to his he's had that bit of a whingy spell recently, hasn't he? He's won his belt and then he's throwing like the diva card a bit, I think. But I'm leaning at the same. Said like if he doesn't get it done early, Thompson's going to pick him apart gradually. Thompson's not going to go in there recklessly, and he's got a high strike per minute rate, but I don't think that's going to. I think he's going to be careful with Woodley and wait for his chance to land something big. He's going to pick him apart and just work him for 5 rounds. But I could see it TKO, probably third, fourth round for Thompson, I reckon.
Late on for you. Fair enough, guys. So let's move on to the women's strawweight division, where we have an all-Polish affair. Karolina, I hope I'm not going to butcher this second name.
I'm waiting for this.
Kavakovic, is that right? Kavakovic?
Yeah.
Was what a stab in the dark. Versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The only reason I know her name is because it's obviously been thrown about so much. Said to be an exciting fight, obviously. Let's start with James this time. James, as I understand it, there seems to be a bit of history between these two prior to this fight. New York, as we probably heard, has a large Polish fan base, but what do you think we can expect from this contest, sir?
Wasn't it an amateur fight? They fought amateur, is that right?
I think it was a grappling contest or something I'm hearing, but I might not be right.
I know it was an amateur fight. It
was okay. It was Jędrzejczyk won, right? That was what happened before. I don't know. I kind of figured this would be the fight they would make next. It seems like it's obvious for a number of reasons. That doesn't mean I necessarily think that. And I'm going to have a go at this now. Kowalkiewicz.
Go for it.
We'll say that's about right.
Yeah, that'll do. I don't necessarily think the time is right for her to have the title shot. However, who else are you going to pick? I don't see her standing much chance, to be honest. I am a massive Jędrzejczyk fan, and I kind of have been for. I'm not going to say like I was old school fan or like fan of her demos or anything like that. But I a long time ago worked for Cage Warriors, and I was cage side. The one performance she put on at Cage Warriors when she destroyed Rosie Sexton, and it was incredible. It's honestly to this day some of the loudest shots I've ever heard land. And since then I've just been fascinated by watching her, to be honest. And I don't see this one lasting long. I think Jędrzejczyk early, to be honest, stoppage. And I'm kind of obliged to pick her as well because she's a JJ and I'm a JJ, so reference, isn't it?
Fair enough. Steve, same question to you, mate. Steve, what's your thoughts on this all-Polish affair?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking on the internet there, and apparently in their first fight, Sherdog has it down as Jędrzejczyk winning by first round rear naked choke, but apparently Kowalkiewicz reckons it went into overtime. So either way, Joanna won that.
Oh, right. Okay.
I can't see her losing. Joanna's such a scary striker for that division. I can't see anyone.
She's so good.
She's like, even her fights against Gahea, she was just a monster. No matter what happened, her boxing is so crisp and technical. Most women are going to struggle with her. I mean, you could see against Rose Namajunas that Kowalkiewicz did look good on her feet. She's obviously got a good kickboxing background. Yeah. But compared to Joanna's striking is just something else. And she is just such an animal. She's got that raw killer instinct and she just goes for finishes. And like James was saying, when you hear her strikes against Rosie Sexton, they were horrendous to listen to. And like when she beat Carla Esparza, that striking was just horrendous to watch. Yeah. Scary. So I can't see Karolina getting out of this one in pieces. Or she'll get out of this one, but in pieces. I'd go for this being possible. Well, currently she hasn't really had that many. She's sort of gone late into the fight, so I reckon maybe fourth round TKO again for Joanna in this one. I can't see Karolina getting past her, and she's just going to be another notch on Joanna's belt bedpost.
I don't think I could argue with that, mate. Finally, Victor, what do you expect to happen when Joanna defends against Karolina?
John, feel free to stop me if I go too long, because this fight, I've been telling people since the minute I heard it. I honestly think this is the fight of the year as far as what I'm anticipating, action-wise, what it means, the skills of both women involved. I just love this fight, and I'm gonna pick an upset. I've said ever since the Namajunas fight that I actually do think Kowalkiewicz can give Joanna problems.
Wow.
And Joanna, I don't remember the last time she's actually fought a good striker. And given that she is such an excellent striker herself, you would think that this would be an easy matchup. But I think the hardest matchup for her in the division would be Gadelha, and she already beat her twice.
Yeah.
And Kowalkiewicz, is not going to be intimidated, is not going to be scared, and she's motivated to beat her because she already lost to her once, and of course she's going to want that title. And if you see how both ladies are going at it, this is for pride. This is to show who's the baddest Polish woman on the planet. They're both fighting for their country, but it's not a thing of solidarity. It's a thing of personal pride for them. The one thing that I think many people are overlooking, and I think this is where the fight's going to be won or lost, is in the clinch. And honestly, I feel that Kovacevic has a better clinch game than Joanna. They're both going to do damage. They're both going to put some lumps and some cuts on each other. I think it will go 5 rounds, and I think it'll be close, but I think Kovacevic will snag some rounds and get a decision.
I like what you're saying about, Polish affair and all the rest of it. I think it's not a gimmick in this fight. It's almost like when you see Joanna and Karolina square off and hearing Jędrzejczyk talk, there is so much national pride. It's almost like Poland is the national pride is what takes first place, and the fact it's an international, a world belt, it's like that's a secondary thing. It really is a battle of, having listened to Jędrzejczyk quite a lot on this, a battle, especially in her mind, that she wants to be not just the number one in the world, but the number one Polish fighter in the world when she takes on Karolina. I like what you're saying, mate, about Fight of the Night. I hope it lives up to that build you're giving it, mate. But let's move on to the main event. I think we'll be spending quite a bit of time on this. Lots of fan questions have come in, obviously, about Conor McGregor, as you would expect. But let's start with Steve on this one. Steve, what's your predictions for the main event? Is it a new champ, or does Alvarez retain for you, sir?
I personally think that Alvarez is a good style matchup for Conor. The way Conor moves and the way Conor angles himself and throws his strikes, Alvarez's style I think matches up quite well for that. Alvarez is going to rely on a lot of his power for this. I think he believes he's the bigger guy who's going to come in and he's going to throw big bombs and catch Conor and put Conor away. But I surely Conor's going to be on his back foot a bit, going back and landing those great straight punches he has, those awkward kicks. I can see Conor getting this one done. I don't like the fact necessarily that he's got this fight. I still think he should have gone down and defended his featherweight title because he's had that for so long and is just dicking that whole division around. But I like the fight, especially in Madison Square Garden, and a fight like this in that arena is just insane for the sport. To get an event finally in New York, and to get an event with this many title fights and this title fight headlining it is just insane. It's going to be just crazy. The audience here is going to go mental. But I can feel it in the air that Conor has got the style to beat Alvarez, or at least frustrate him for a while. The only way Alvarez is going to get this if he just turns this into a nasty brawl, gets inside Conor's range, beats him up, drags him around the ring a bit. If he gets him down, his wrestling is good enough to beat Conor in that sense, but I think Conor's going to stand with him and just pepper him all night until Alvarez can't take anymore. That's my general thought, that Conor's just going to keep peppering him all night and frustrate Alvarez and keep him missing on the outside.
And Victor, how about you, sir? Who are you picking in this one? Is it McGregor or is it Alvarez? Who's you picking? Why?
The more I think about it, the more I go back and forth on it, but I kind of edged Alvarez in the beginning, and I think I'm going to stick with it. His wrestling is very underrated, and honestly, even though people kind of criticize it, he like in the Pettis fight, he straight up wall installed, and as unpleasant as it may be to view, it's very effective, especially against a guy like Conor. I don't think he's going to be shooting blast doubles like Mendes. I don't really think it'll look like something like that. I don't think he's really capable of that, but he's going to make it dirty. I do expect the first round to be insane. If you see how he went at Dos Anjos, I think he's going to rush Conor from the start. And of course, Conor has great countering abilities, and obviously Eddie gets hurt in every fight he's in, so I'm pretty sure the first round will be madness. After that, I kind of expect Eddie to go more with the wrestling, and maybe in the third, fourth, if it goes to the fifth, he can start mixing it up a bit. And I think it'll be close, but I think Conor will be just way too tired, and his body will just be too taxed from the wrestling, and And from the onslaught, Eddie does have power, and you do have to